Sunil Prabhu has been bringing this breaking news story to us as it develops. Sunil, we saw several Congress MPs, including Rahul Gandhi, being taken away just a short while earlier. Now Priyanka Gandhi Vadra also being taken away.
That's right. Senior Congress leaders, working committee presidents, Priyanka Gandhi, as you named, here at the Congress office, courting arrest as they are being dragged and hauled towards the vehicles to be taken away. This as they protest against people's issues, they say, on price rise, on high unemployment, as well as, of course, the hike in GST prices on food products. These are the protests that they have been trying to say right from the time Parliament was in session, on the Agnipath issue, on the Chinese incursion, on a host of issues which they want to discuss, which have not been taking place in Parliament. And it's in that backdrop that these protests have taken at Vijay Chowk as well as in the Congress office, and not only here in New Delhi but across India at various state capitals. Congress workers protesting to show solidarity with the common man on what they say are really an inflation which is very, very taxing on the common man, in particular the poorest of the poor, and that's why we've seen these streetwide protests as they wanted to march towards the Prime Minister's house to tell him to understand about the people's misery in terms of price rise.
Right, Sunil, just describe to us the scenes at Vijay Chowk in Parliament where you were, in fact, just a short while earlier. You've been speaking to all of these leaders as well. What is it that they're saying?
Well, they were all, in fact, today was as was planned, very clearly everybody wanted to be protesting. So we started off with a press conference with Rahul Gandhi and then everybody dressed in black, members of Parliament. And of course taking the lead is Mr. Kharge, who I wish we can play out his by saying, you know, we are wearing black but our heart is white. We are pure in our thought process. We want to raise people's issues, and it's in that context that they've marched from Parliament towards the Rashtrapati Bhavan, where they wanted to tell the President about the fact that she must request the government to take certain steps to ensure that the common people are not affected by rising prices. And there was nearly a 45-minute to an hour standoff between the opposition members of Parliament led by the Congress who were protesting. They had a huge standoff, and in fact what has now become for them a new norm. And this is the third kind of protest, and what is happening, Ankita, is that they realize day after day in Parliament their voices are being stifled, they are not being allowed, coverage is not taking place. The better way is to have coverage at Vijay Chowk and ensure live coverage of their protests, and that's the kind of protests, the mileage that they have been getting in the last few days as they continue to raise people's issues. As I said, for them, rising prices, high inflation, high unemployment, as well as the rise in GST prices is affecting the common man, and that's the reason for why they were protesting today.
Right, dramatic visuals coming from the Congress headquarters where there seems to be that kind of standoff still as Priyanka Gandhi Vadra was sort of hauled away into a car, but that car still not moving. And earlier, of course, those visuals of Rahul Gandhi being detained as well, along with other top Congress leaders. Now, Sunil, the Congress, of course, says it's raising people's issues. The BJP countering by saying this is nothing but an attempt to deflect attention from the ED's action. You know, the sealing of Young Indian as well as questioning of top Congress leaders. The stage clearly set for this confrontation to continue.
That's right. In fact, to a specific question, Rahul Gandhi was asked, said, "I'm not afraid. I would be the happiest person if I'm arrested." Clearly saying and urging the Narendra Modi government to go ahead with that, you know, the natural corollary that will be required after the search operations, after this questioning that is taking place. There is definitely a clear confrontation between the opposition as well as the government. Mr. Kharge, who was there yesterday, I asked him the specific question saying these are all old issues they're trying to raise, but there is no problem. We have nothing to hide. We are very clear that we have done nothing wrong in this entire matter. And it's in this context that this standoff continues between the opposition and the government. The opposition alleging that the government is using the Enforcement Directorate, the CBI, as well as various law enforcement agencies to continue to act as their agents in terms of doing what they want in terms of harassing their senior leaders. So we have definitely seen in the last few days a huge standoff. And as India gets ready to celebrate its 75 years of independence, instead of a good bonhomie which should be there between the opposition as well as the government, what we are seeing, and as we saw Rahul Gandhi say today, the onset of a dictatorship in a democratic system like ours. So who is actually correct?
That's an important point you
we'll have
make,
to wait and
Sunil.
see.
Just
But
10 days from